I'm the director of growth product here at GitLab. We have our growth group conversation today. Um, you will see our slides deck in the agenda doc. Feel free to add your questions. I think, Scott, you have the first one.
Yeah, hi, Gila.
Hi.
First of all, really good deck. Thanks for pulling it together and great work on your Q2 OKRs, in particular 979K and incremental IACV is impressive. Thanks for helping add to the top line of the business. Second, there's stage adoption data in there, which is great. I'm curious what your takeaways are from that.
Yeah, Scott, thank you for the question and the call out on the IACV. So regarding stage adoption data, I think Scott is mentioning to the slides 14, page 14 until 16. So before I talk about my learnings, I think I want to give a quick overview of what we are talking about here in those 3 slides. So slide 14 basically talk about the current status of where we are in terms of single stage adoption, meaning among all the users who did at least a stage action in any stage, what's the percentage of using a particular stage? So basically, of all the active users, what's the percentage using one particular stage? And if you look at slide 14, the order of that is very in line with what we know. Create is the largest used stage, and followed by verify. Actually, they are pretty close. And then plan and release and secure. And just to call out, the data here only refers to .com data, and it's only 2019 until now. It includes all the tiers, free, trial, bronze, silver, gold. So that's why the low percentage for secure makes sense. And we also have the definition called out there in page 14 as well. So that's the basically where we are in terms of single stage adoption. If you look at slide 14, it's a little bit more interesting because we look at cross-stage adoption, meaning out of users who use Create or who use Plan, what's the percentage using another stage, any other stage? So by looking at this, we want to understand what's the natural kind of pairs customers are more likely to use together. And by looking at that data, you can see that the strongest kind of paired adoption happens between verify and create, release and verify almost 100%, which make a lot of sense. Verified create is around 50%. Create between create and verify is similar, maybe 48%. So so the difference between customer using create, also using verify, versus customer using verify and also using create is really the denominator is either create users or verify users. And we look at what's the percentage using the other stage. So this data basically give us the idea of what is the what are the most commonly used stage pairs. And what's even interesting, I didn't share it here, but if you click into some of the link, talk about full dashboard link, there is a full analysis. We also monitor the trend of those percentage month over month, meaning, for example, in month 1, we have 50% of verified user using Create. Does that 50% over time going up, going down, hold constant? Because the ideal scenario is that it's going up and we're seeing deeper and deeper cross-stage adoption over time. So we also look at that data. The highlight or the summary of that data is we do see the paired adoption between create and verify is going up, which is kind of a great trend. Those are the most critical stages for us. The paired adoption between verify and secure is kind of slightly up because secure is mostly used in the highest tier users. So the trend is not that obvious, but we do see verified and secure is going up slightly. Between verified and release and verify is almost 100%. Between verified and release, that is going up as well. It started from like under 20% and now almost 30%. The one outlier we observed is that between create and plan, meaning users using create, what's the percentage using plan, that's going down a little bit. And we dig a little bit deeper into the data. What we see is that it seems like the overall adoption of plan is growing, but it's not growing as fast as some other stages. So that's kind of one outlier we observed. And then if you look at slide 16, it's kind of trying to put slide 14 and 15, all the information together. We talk about our customer adoption journey. This is our perspective. Based on our experience, our customers adopt GitLab stages in these orders, and those are the most likely next stage. So that slide 16 basically talk about the purple is what's the current single stage adoption rate for that stage. And then the yellow is between this one and the next one, what's the percentage of cross adoption. So this basically gave a number to the most important customer adoption journey we're trying to drive. And we can monitor this over time to see, do this number get better or worse? What can we do to make them grow? The other thing we also did in the full deck is we break down those adoption numbers by tiers, because as we mentioned that some stages are more popular in a particular tier. So you can see more there. I think another interesting kind of takeaway is that we observed that from cross-adoption perspective, because Cure is one of the stage we really want to push. We really want to push adoption. If you look at any other stage versus Secure, the cross-adoption between release and Secure is the highest, comparing to verify to Secure, plan to Secure, or create to Secure. So those are the high-level observations from the data. I'm sure we have a lot of team members who have a lot more insights into real product usage or customer behavior. So if you have any insights or anything doesn't make sense to you, please feel free to reach out to me. We'd love to learn more from you.
Thank you, Hina.
Hila, it's Mac here. Just a follow-up question. This is from .com, correct?
Yes, this is .com only.
What's your best guess on how this would look like on a self-managed installation?
Yeah, that's a great question. To be very honest, I don't have a best guess, because either it's very similar or there will be difference, right? So what we are trying to work on with telemetry team and data team is trying to figure out whether we can do something similar in self-hosted. The reason why it's not readily available in self-hosted is we have to rely on usage pin to get data. And usage pin has some constraints in terms of it's harder to track cross-stage kind of usage right now, versus in .com, that data is available in one of our data sources. So that's something we need to figure out. And that's something we want to look at. To your point, that's kind of critical.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to add on to what Hila was saying, we need to actually do the unions across these different stages on the self-managed instance beforehand, before sending it over in usage bank. So that's on our roadmap to do.
Awesome. So the next question is from Sid.
Thanks. If you look at issue 1770, Okay,
So,
apparently this is not public.
so Sid, should we maybe wait until end of the call? And
Yeah, cool. I'm cool with that.
yeah, thank you. So the next question is Dara.
Yeah, hi. I'm loving the observations on the stages, and I'm just wondering if you did any sort of drill down based on segments, so looking at sizes of companies.
Yeah, that's a great question. We haven't, but we should be, and we should be able to. I think looking at sizes, we broke them by tier, but we didn't broke down by sizes yet. But I think that's a great call. We want to look at that.
Thank you.
The next question is from Brad.
Hi, thanks. Just coming off mute there. Yeah, I'm curious if you've got breakdown by dollar. So a user is weighted by the amount that they spend, right? So, you know, a core user would be 0, and then gold user would be, you know, 1188 or something to that effect. So do you have breakdown by spend? Are we getting more adoption by higher spending users or by free users? And then maybe the inverse of that is, are you weighting the features? So a feature that like secure that's in Ultimate is weighted higher than a feature that's in free.
Interesting. So Brad, this is a great question. Make sure I understand what you ask. So you're saying since customers in different tiers, they are paying different amount, a usage of secure, for example, is worth more dollar than usage of kind of maybe another stage or feature that's in a lower tier. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm suggesting. So, you know, if we had a feature or a stage in a particular tier, and we have a, you know, between a 4 and 5x cost difference between those two, theoretically, we'd only need 20% of the users in an ultimate feature to equal the same revenue as a premium feature, as an example.
Yeah, that's a great perspective. I haven't thought of that. We do have a broke down by tier. If you click into the full analysis deck, so we did all those exact same thing: the single stage adoption, paired stage adoption, and broke it down by like free. How does that look at for free user? How does it look like for trial? How does it look for bronze, silver, gold? So we can see, obviously, if you only look at the gold plan, the secure usage percentage is much higher than 1% or 2%. So that kind of can give you some hint in terms of in gold plans, the usage pattern is different. But I think you make a great point. Maybe we can talk more afterwards. I'd like to learn more from you regarding that idea and see whether it's possible we can do something like that.
And
thank you so much.
Brad, one other thing, in terms of monitoring monthly active usage, which is a big deal for us right now, we're going to monitor it at the group, the stage, and the total cross-product level. We're splitting that. Each group has a focus. Either they're focusing on paid monthly active usage or broad monthly active usage. Some of the ones that are focused on paid tend to have more tiers and value in the paid segment, or are going to focus there. And then the broad monthly active usage is just trying to get traction across all tiers and would probably have a pretty heavy core strategy. We're going to place stuff in core. So we are factoring that in that sense. We're also factoring in the level to which groups contribute to revenue when we're thinking about investment allocation across groups and stages. So certainly factor in at those levels, and those are good suggestions for factoring in this deeper stage adoption analysis.
Can I ask a follow-up question there? So I guess if I just were to guess, if we put everything in core free, we would have a lot higher usage, right? Because hey, why not use it if it doesn't cost anything, right? And is the product team more focused on active usage, or kind of weighted by dollars coming into that, right? So how do we drive product developers to put valuable features in where they're going to make the most amount of revenue for the company?
We did an analysis for a board meeting a little while ago where we tagged each group based on whether they were focused on paid versus broad monthly adoption. And it was so out of 100% of our dev investment, a little over 70% is for paid. A little under, about 25 was for broad, and then about 5 or 6% was for management, which would be equally spread. So it's about 70-30, Brad.
Cool. Thank you.
That's about what we want. We're right around the ratio that I personally think is healthy.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Brad. I think the next question is from Mike.
Yeah, hi. So I was looking at OKR number 2 for Q3 on slide 8, and just wanted to congratulate the team on that OKR number 2 in Q2 and kind of generating all of that IACV. It looks like a lot of it was attributed to automating the .com renewals, and I was just curious if we're looking at including true ups when automating renewals, and if we've mapped the potential IACV that could be a result.
Yeah, so first of all, regarding the Q2 OKR results, yeah, that's mainly coming from the .com renewal. We kind of automated and correctly counting the number of users included in the renewal. And for the ones that are relatively small, we are pretty kind of confident customers will kind of buy more seats and renew. We automate that. For the larger amount, like if there's larger difference in terms of seats, we capture that data and send that to the sales team so they can have a more thoughtful conversation. But all in all, this effort bringing a lot of additional IACV to us, to GitLab. Regarding the true up aspect, I don't know, Amanda, do you have anything to add there on the
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. So we're working on a billing model whereby we automate the reconciliation of user overages, and then automatically charging for the remainder of the subscription term for those overages. So we're going to move away from the true up model where we were charging historically for overages and only looking towards the future use or the future remainder of the subscription in that regard.
Thank you, Amanda. And Jamie, do you want to add your comments?
I just want to agree with Mike. Excellent. Like, this is huge. This is a huge win, and it's really exciting. I just want to represent the accounting and finance team that they do a lot of the back end work here, which, I know that you all know, and I just want to make sure that the greater audience realizes that they're doing a big lift there as well.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie. Next one is coming from you as well.
Yeah, I know we don't gate our self-managed core free product, and so it's hard for us to know how many people are downloading it and installing it. Have we considered talking to the community about asking for only an email address so that we can have a better sense of our numbers here, take it to the community first, get feedback? I know that this is a sensitive topic for a lot of people around security and privacy. And obviously they can use a different email address than like their primary one. But yeah, this is something that Dara and I had been talking about last week. So I wanted to bring it up. We could use our Marketo webhook to send the license to them.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. We have been talking about this as well, realizing there might be sensitivity in terms of community maybe against this, or some community members are like especially sensitive about this topic. I know, I think I know that marketing team is thinking about some of this idea as well. Maybe this is something I can talk more with marketing team, and we can get inputs from Scott and Sid as well. Like what's the, we talk about maybe we make it optional, or we don't, it's not a gate, but it's more like afterwards, after you download, we immediately prompt you to sign up, and that will give you some extra benefits, something like that.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that. If you look at our stewardship promises, it's never going to be a gate. That's the day you stop being an open source project.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Sid. Brandon?
Sure. I was just wondering, I may have missed it, but would be curious if there's any, while you guys are running the experiments, if there's any experiments to test adoption or pull through based off of platforms or deployment targets or anything of that nature. I've always implicitly thought that this has a lot of pull through, but I don't know that I have great data. So I was just wondering if either you'll have that or if you're thinking about it at some time in the near future.
That's a great question, Brandon. Remember, we had these conversations around this, and we put some preliminary data. I think we are more at understanding stage adoption at a higher level, meaning overall by tier, maybe by customer. I think by application will be the next kind of area after we figure out the most basic segmentation or ways, but would love to continue to talk with you to get your insights on that area.
What's your hypothesis, Brandon? That
well, I think our hypothesis has been both on the front end, customers' engagement just with us is about 3x on the marketing side. If we have something with say Google or Amazon, we're seeing about 3x level of engagement on anything we do there. And the hypothesis is that if you're using GitLab for source code and we tie it to say Lambda on Amazon, you're going to get a full pull through of all the stages, right? And so the question sort of becomes, where can we take where we're strong in source code and CI, make sure as long as they know where their deployment target is, if we connect the two dots, we're going to end up pulling through all the other stages. So implicitly, that is our assumption, and I think some data has suggested that, but it's a pattern that I think if we could really get crisp on, would be really helpful, and could probably get it down to where we could be crystal clear to someone that's got source code. How and where can we talk to them about source code, getting the source code to the deployment target they want? And I think that I think there's a lot of opportunities to do that well. I know we're just getting started, but does that help, Scott?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for the suggestion, Brandon.
Cool. So I think we can move back to Sid's question number 3. Do we have our moderator here? Can you help stop the public recording?
Yes, I can.
Thank you so much.
Sure.